And I mean, we can't wait to listen to your talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes, hello, a warm welcome from me as well. But first of all, I really would like to thank you all, Marietta and Cecilia in particular, because it's really for me a big pleasure and an honor to be here, to be part of your group. It has been an amazing 2 days with excursions and incredible discussions and talks among like-minded people, and I think there is a lot happening, and I'm really, it's a pleasure for me to be here with you. And in the morning, our excursion to the little island of Sandböte, if I pronounce it well, was just like fantastic, going deep into the Blåstång. It was really lovely. So yeah, that first of all, because I think it's important that we gather our forces, that we join our forces among like-minded people in order to create a movement everywhere in different parts of the society. So that said, yes, I will speak about, well, ARTPORT Making Waves, maybe one sentence, is a non-profit association which I co-founded with my project partner Corinne Ornö. She's based in New York, in 2005 actually. And we started maybe as one of the first curatorial collectives or associations working at this intersection of art and climate change when nobody else was doing it. There was Cape Farewell in the UK, but I don't remember that any other group was working on that topic. And actually people smiled at us. From the art world they said, that's populistic to work on climate change. And people from sciences said, art and climate change? No, we don't understand that. And now we are 16 years later and everybody is talking about it, and I think that's good. So this topic entered society in different stages, in different fields, and that's how it has to be in order to really create a change. And we have meanwhile 4 non-profits in Spain, in France, in Switzerland and in Germany, because we are somehow connected to those countries. And we have been doing since 2005 projects really not all over the world, but in many countries worldwide. And I'm really grateful that we were able to collaborate with so many good institutions, smaller ones, local ones, but also the bigger ones and the supranational ones like several UN organizations and governments.
For me, it's really a pleasure to work now in the Scandinavian countries with a focus here being in Sweden right now. And so after many projects focusing on climate change, on forests, on food, etc., I said in 2018, finally, because my big love in my life is the ocean, it's the sea. Sorry to my partner, but that's how it is. I grew up with the ocean, and it was always something like my lung. So when I was not living close to the sea, close to the ocean, it was something was missing in my life, and I felt a little bit like handicapped. And in 2018, I said, now I really have to work on this topic as well with ARTPORT. And I had the big opportunity to start to work with UNESCO, with IOC UNESCO. It's the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission of UNESCO, and introduced by Markus Reimann, who is the executive director of TBA 21 Academy. They are running the ocean space in Venice as well. And so like a new chapter opened up, and I was able to gather a lot of partners. I will show them at the end. Maybe I didn't put everybody, but I was able to gather a lot of institutions in Germany and in other countries to support their cause in ocean protection, but also to get their support in setting up a hybrid global program, which is speaking on behalf of the arts and the sciences in the field of education, but informal education. I always underline that we are not an educational association, but a cultural association. And we support schools and university and coming on board with external programs. So I was able to gather the necessary funds in only 1 year. I'm really proud of that, because it was like such a huge undertaking, but it all came together. So I felt that we were really working at the pulse of the time. And we started the program, actually it was only planned as a series of 3 projects in Berlin and Brandenburg. which is the region around, or the country around Berlin, and Venice and Marseille. And then Vancouver came on top, so we already have 4 projects, which we mainly delivered. Corona, of course, crossed a lot of our planning, and we had to adapt the programs or the projects. But, and then more opportunities came up, and now we put together like a whole global program and accompanying or trying to accompany the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. So that as a little introduction. I have to, okay, I got it. Now I'm going to move to, so it's hybrid, I think that's clear. We are really trying to be interdisciplinary. We really work with artists and scientists and educators on at schools and universities on the same level, and trying to bring across scientific knowledge to what the artists are doing. So we commission artists and we go to schools, we set up workshop programs where the school students or the pupils, they are not only listening to talks, to scientific talks or to artistic talks or to watch films, but they are really engaged. They have to be, they are participatory, those workshops, so they really have to be active. They listen, of course, but then they have to transform or to transfer the knowledge they learned into something where they are really participating with the artists in something. It can be creating a theater piece, creating a film, doing a live installation. So anything the artist is thinking and conceptualizing. And so does this move or not? No, it doesn't move. It was moving before. Okay, so I cannot use this. I have to use the.
No, you can use the arrow.
Okay. So that I already talked about. Our aim is obviously to create consciousness around ecological topics, and specifically right now ocean protection, to contribute to societal change. So we moved from simply sensitizing, which was our aim, our goal in the first years, to really try to implement new knowledge and to change perception and to change consciousness regarding ecology and regarding, in this case now, the ocean. So the state of the ocean, what is at stake, and how does the ocean function, and what can we do? And we don't only want to burden all the responsibility on the young people. This is what we hear a lot of times from policymakers. Oh, here's the young generation and you are going to take over anyway, so you will make it much better than we do. That's lame, of course, and that's banal. And I always shout at them when they start this speech, because we are all responsible. So no matter in which age section we are, we all have to contribute. But it's important that at a young age, you already understand what's going on, and not only, changing your phone every year and playing games on the phone and being always connected. There are many more things in life which are important. And when you learn that already when you're 6 years old, then you how do you say that, you automatize it somehow. And you know that there is something more out there than only your small surrounding. So we started in Berlin, Brandenburg, in 2019, and we had a strong partner on board, the Institute for Advanced Sustainability Studies in Potsdam. And we invited the German artist Lisa Harve. And I always talk with anecdotes as well, so please bear with me. Lisa said, well, this is a beautiful project. I really would like to be on board, but I never worked with teenagers, because our goal was, or our aim was, to go to schools where kids from more underprivileged backgrounds were attending. So not to the typical gymnasium, the lycée, where you bring knowledge to kids who are already sensitized, but we really wanted to go to the schools where kids had a more difficult life and more difficult family background. And Lisa said, I never did something like this. I'm used to work with university students because she teaches at university. But how do I do that with teenagers from these backgrounds? I said, you know what, just be inventive, just be creative. You are smart, you can do that. And I don't want to sound patronizing here, but I always try to support my artists and to push them to jump into cold water as well, because sometimes you just need to do that. I do that all the time, and it's actually enriching our lives. And Lisa, she put something so amazing together. She never spoke about the details. She just said, I need this and I need that, technical equipment, I need a cameraman, and can I do this, can I do that? And then she rented a car, she came with her cameraman and the big camera equipment and light and the blue screen into the schools, and she created something amazing. And the kids actually, they were so inventive. She didn't tell them what to do, of course, she guided them a little bit, but they invented the whole content actually. Suddenly a group of girls said, she did a blue screen concept. So the kids were standing in front of this blue screen, and afterwards, during the post-production process, she was able to screen further images into the blue screen. You maybe know all of this, how this functions. So there was a group of girls who said, oh, we want to do the choral dance. We said, what is the choral dance? And then they were like describing a story and working with plastic pollution and really dancing the choral dance. And then Lisa had also, of course, a variety of possibilities at the end to screen something or to put something into the blue screen afterwards. So she used underwater images and real corals and putting also the other school students in the background. So that was really funny. You will see a short extract of this film later. And so the outcome was that the kids were participating in the film as protagonists, but also as producers somehow. And the concept was not only the workshops and that the kids were, I think I will continue like this. I think that's also funny. That they, you see here maybe some images, but I will go through that maybe so that you understand the visuals a little bit. I will go back then later. So you see here the blue screen. So this is maybe more understandable now. So they were standing in front of the blue screen. She filmed that, and they were, you know, telling their stories and playing like screenplays and speaking about their fears regarding the ocean and how we as a humanity could solve the problem. And it was really funny. And then the next stage was that with what they learned, we brought them in contact with 250 ocean experts from all over the world who participated in the Marine Regions Forum in Berlin in 2019, which was organized and hosted by the IASS Potsdam, our partner. And so they were like immediately jumping into cold water. And they were talking to those international experts, including German policymakers, like ministers, like really high-rank personalities. And those kids, most of them didn't speak proper English yet. So we had official translators, other school students of the same school who were more professional already in their English. So they did interviews with those people running around as a, you know, in German we say the running reporter. I don't know how you say that in English. Interviewing and with the camera, and those policymakers, they were, and ocean experts. They were from African countries, they were from India, from Latin America, from Japan as well. So they were answering their questions. There was like a real communication coming up. And this was one group. We went to several schools. So they had to defend their knowledge already. So it was not only learning something at school and then going home and forgetting about that. And they were really excited about this professional encounter. And the other event was at the Futurium, which is a museum about the future, which was just opened a month before that, run by the German government. And that was the other group of the other school. And they were doing like an intervention as well with protests and also speaking to the experts which we had invited for a fishbowl discussion, which you see here at the center. We invited Antje Boetius. She is the director of the Alfred Wegener Institute, which is one of the most important marine research institutes in Germany. Maybe, well, they are very important worldwide as well. They have this expedition vessel, Polarstern, which did the Mosaic expedition, you know, this boat which was freezing in the Arctic for a whole year, and they were doing research. And then we had a German politician, we had Markus Reimann from TBA 21 Academy, we had a scientist from the ILSS Potsdam. And fishbowl discussion for us is an important format because we invite the audience, and in this case, the young people who had participated in the workshops, to take part inside of the discussion. So they jump in, they ask their question, and the people who are addressed with the question have to answer, so that they really feel engaged in this whole conversation. And that was the whole group. So we brought all the three groups, the three schools together at the end. We did this group picture, and they were all supporting each other. And that was important as well, that the three groups, they met at the end, and that this joint forces process was developing. And then we had another workshop at one of the institutions, State Studio Berlin, where we put together a smaller group, and the workshop was run by the director and scientist of the State Studio, which was a completely different setting. And now I will quickly go back to the schedule. That was Berlin. And then we had the We Are Ocean curated film program, which I curated together with a curator in Berlin, Julia Moritz. She is a curator for education at the Gropiusbau in Berlin. And we invited international artists, like 8. You see that here on the second spot. So I've gone now to the chart. We Are Ocean curated film program. We said we also want to create something which is reflecting the international artistic video film community, speaking about the ocean. So we selected those 8 videos. Ursula Biemann with the video South Atlantic, forensic oceanography, with a short film about what is actually happening in the Mediterranean Sea, with migrants getting lost on their way, not being helped by the coast guards. And so I didn't put the titles of the films, but you can look that up on our website. To a Greenford, a Danish artist. Forensic oceanography belongs to forensic architecture at Goldsmith in London. So there is a lot of scientific and data knowledge behind their research, and it's really a very political work. Ursula Biemann, she's a Swiss artist you might all know. She is very well, she's renowned, of course, internationally, and she is working a lot on the topic of the ocean, but she has also set up a very important project in the Colombian Amazon region, which is a university for indigenous people, which was just recently launched. So she's really doing important social, environmental work as well as an artist. To a Greenford, with a short video which is talking about the horseshoe crabs, and also like subtly about you know, how we are using the ocean and tourism, etc. Michelle Marie Letellier, she's a Chilean artist based at Berlin in Germany, and she proposed the video outline for the bonding, which is actually a long-term research project, which she is elaborating together with scientists in Norway about aquaculture, specifically the salmon farms. And bonding in this case means that she is following as a friend this salmon, which from the, how do you say that, from the small, how do you say that in English, the small seeds of the fish, before they grow into fish.
Grow?
Yeah. I don't remember the word. So she's really following the life of a salmon until the end, and she's interviewing fishermen about what is at stake and the life of the salmon. And we know this critical phenomenon which is happening right now. Parvati Nayar, she's an artist from Mumbai, and she's speaking about the health, or actually the disease and the sickness of the river, and how this is like actually affecting the local community, but also, of course, the ocean, because all of this is going into the ocean. Ana Vaz, she is a Brazilian artist, speaking about the Anthropocenic influence on the ocean. Susanne M. Winterling, she is, it's a very short video of hers, which we have, where she is speaking about the dinoflagellates, and I really love it. It's 1 minute only, and you see beautiful images of those, how do you say that? Dinoflagellates are like structures, like organisms, exactly, which are actually showing the state of the health of the coastal lines of the water. And Marina Zokov, she works a lot with animated videos showing actually the catastrophe of the future of the oceans in a very visual way. So this program is like an hour long, more or less, and we try to screen it also during conferences. We just screened it in Marseille at the IUCN World Conservation Congress last month to show a little bit more the video part of engaged artists. So that's, well, a short and brief description. I can maybe read it, but maybe I talked about it already. It's like, it's showing also the cultural difference, because the approaches of the 8 videos is different. So Berlin, we talked about already in detail, and now it's We Are Ocean. We invited the French artist Mark Johnson. And what he proposed was actually a theater piece. He called it Théâtre Corallien, so the theater of the corals. And we worked with several institutions in Marseille, research institutes, for example, the Institut Pythias and the National Center of Research in Scientific Research in Marseille, and universities, but specifically the school École de la Roseraie in Ornö. Ornö is like belonging to Marseille, but it was a former fisher village. And it's really nicely located just on the rocks on the shore when you go over this road, along the coastline. And it's a nice little neighborhood. And we went to this primary school. The kids we had 2 classes, and they were between 6 and 8. And we talked specifically about ocean literacy, because ocean literacy for us is an important topic as part of the UN Ocean Decade, obviously. And so we spoke about the different organisms in the ocean and their challenges, where there are those organisms are fighting against something, or they are affected by something. And the kids were invited to do several things. First, we got those, you see the mask, which was prefabricated. I bought them somewhere in a shop in Marseille, but they actually had the form of a shark. And they were invited to transform those masks into something which is representing themselves. So they chose a specific organism, an animal or a sea anemone, and they transformed this mask into their personal identification. And then they played this role of this animal. So there was one who was the poisson peureux, which was the fearful fish, and they were really acting as such. And Mark, he invited them to write stories, to make drawings, to really he was really stimulating their creativity. And it was so amazing to see that. There were a lot of kids who were very shy, they never spoke, or they didn't have this self-esteem. And the teachers, they asked us, they were overwhelmed. They said, but how did you learn that? Where did you learn that? We never saw our children like this. What did you do? They were completely transformed. Of course, it's a different situation. It's not learning with the teachers, you know already, and there's an artist coming and there's a photographer taking pictures. Of course, the kids were transformed. And that was good to see, because that's actually our goal, to touch the senses and to touch the emotions of the people working with us, and so that they open up and they come with their own creativity. So you see the different masks, and some of them are shy. She was like completely like active, and she was the super actress. So she was like the big, what was her name again? I forgot it now, but she was always superwoman, you know, running like a blizzard through the classroom, also inspiring and pushing the other companions in the classroom. So you saw this dynamics, and it's amazing to see as well how they are acting with an artist about scientific knowledge and transforming that into their own identity. And I met them last month when I was in Marseille, 1 year after the workshops. And not all of them, because they split up in different classes, or some of them left the school. She was the poisson pourreux, the fearful fish. And I asked them if they still remembered what we learned in the workshop, what they did and what they are doing, if they continued their conscious behavior. And they actually did. So they were telling me stories, what they were doing, how they convinced their parents to change something, and that they are not using any plastic anymore. And for them, plastic is, of course, the big issue. You cannot get that out of their heads. Of course, there are so many other topics, but plastic for them is the topic which is, you know, graspable, which is directly there. And you cannot change that. Sometimes scientists, they criticize that. They say, you work too much on plastic. And I say, but that's the topic the kids are choosing. And we cannot always hammer into their head that we have to work on something else. If they want to work on plastic, okay, then we work on plastic, and trying also to speak about other issues, obviously. So that's, for example, one drawing they did. And imagine, I mean, this is beautiful. They are telling stories, they are making drawings. I think this young man, he was only 6 or 7 years old, and I find that really outstanding. So what we did, we bought these typical working books, like the beautiful ones, and you know, the French working books for kids at school, they're really nice. And we found special ones with a special format and a nice paper. And they had to fill in those cahiers. And we scanned all of what they did, and we gave them back their working books, so that they really had something which they collect for later on. I actually didn't ask them if they still had it, but I think it also was for them like a little work of art which they could keep. So you see also, they were not copying from each other. They were really inventing something on their own, really telling stories, and everyone had like a different way of looking at the ocean. And a different quality, obviously, of course, and different ideas. We invited them to draw a machine, because they were speaking about plastic. So we said, okay, then they should invent a machine which cleans the ocean. So we had those fancy robots and sci-fi elements, and they were really able to present that in a proper way. So they were really giving instructions. That was one of the masks. And that was, we wanted to perform this theater piece in the Théâtre Sylvain, which is an amphitheater close to the school, but due to Corona, that was the first day when those excursions from the schools or from the students were not allowed anymore. So we couldn't go to the theater, we couldn't perform. So we had to do that at school without audience. Obviously, only the teachers and other students were present. And that was a pity. But yeah, we were happy that we could do, despite of Corona, that we could do the workshop anyway. And another part of We Are Ocean Marseille was also that we worked with other foundations locally, the Surfrider Foundation Europe, for example, and we organized a screening of the We Are Ocean curated film program on the beach. So that's really a beach. It's Plage du Prophète. And a discussion, like a panel discussion. So we invited several scientists, we invited the director of a local foundation, the Fondation Camargo in Cassis, which is close to Marseille. And Thierry Perez, he is one of the main researchers in Marseille, a research director at the Center for National Scientific Research there. He's a spongeologist, so which means he's a sponge expert, and it's beautiful to hear him talking about his sponges. So he does research all over the world, and the images he brings back, and the sponges sometimes as well. It's just amazing. We hear about any kind of marine biologist, but I had never heard before meeting him about somebody an expert in sponges. And that was actually an extraordinary day because it was raining the whole day. And people said, oh no, we will not come to the beach. We would love to come, but it's going to rain anyway. And I said, no, tonight it's not going to rain. It will be a beautiful evening. You should really come. A lot of people came, but a lot of people didn't come because of the rain. It was a beautiful evening. You see the colors, and it was really amazing. And the Surfrider Foundation, they do every Wednesday evening, they do a screening, a public screening of a film, a movie on this beach. And it's always very well attended. And they invited us. It was part of Manifesta, you know, this artistic biennial, which was happening in Marseille last year. So they invited us to do the screening and the discussion about the role of art at this intersection, to speak about ocean protection and what collaborations between artists and scientists actually can achieve. Then we have We Are Ocean Venice, which is still ongoing because we had to postpone a lot of the different parts. We invited Barrena Bianca, which is a duo from Venice. They come from other cities, Pietro Consolanti and Fabio Cavallari. And they work a lot with local schools in Venice. And we wanted to do that at a specific school. We couldn't because of Corona. So we did everything hybrid so far. And we don't only invite the students of the school to bring in their stories of their local sea or ocean, to speak in images or in videos or in poems or in stories about how they feel the ocean, what is happening there. And in Venice, around the lagoon, apart from the Mosi, there are a lot of things happening. But we invite also the international community. So if you want to be part of that, go on our website or on the website of Barrena Bianca and send in something. You can also do that by email, you know, by making a short video or taking pictures or writing a poem or even singing a song. And become part of the project. I will just show the map you see here. They created a virtual map which should be launched very soon, and all the different projects will be part of. It's very small right now, I'm sorry for that, but you see the map in the center on the right, where all the project contributions will be shown with your names, or if you want to use another name, that's okay as well. And part of the project is as well the walks through the salt marshes, because Barrena Bianca is really trying to highlight the importance of the salt marshes in the Venice Lagoon and how much they are affected actually by the pollution, by, of course, cruise ships and all the destruction happening there. I just came back from Venice, and they did, together with a chef, a Michelin star chef, they did like a workshop and dinner with food only from the salt marshes. So the dinners here and the lunch were actually reminding me of Venice. They used like herbs and specific tomatoes which are grown there in Punta Sabbioni and this whole area, and it was really delicious. And everything it was not vegan, it was mainly vegetarian. There were some mussels, of course, which they used from the lagoon. So through their walks and through those food experiments, they try to bring the lagoon closer to the people, specifically to the local community. And this walk was actually part of where I tried to bring together several projects. We are Ocean Jakarta, we are working on that. I will speak about that later. And we are Ocean Stockholm, which is going to transform into We Are Ocean Sapmi, to work on the Sami traditional knowledge and the connection to the ocean. And We Are Ocean Venice. So all the three artists did specific walks in their areas, a walk in Jakarta, a walk in Venice, and a walk in Stockholm, where we did an acupuncture walk. We invited Åsa Andersson. I will speak about that now. We did, as a conclusion of the project, which was financed with a small grant by the Asia-Europe Foundation, and they have their headquarters in Singapore. We did, as a conclusion of those walks, a fishbowl discussion, but online, obviously, and invited the international community. And that was really interesting because we had, it was happening for Earth Day, so that was in April. And we had students from Jakarta or from Indonesia in general. Some of them, they didn't even speak English, so we needed the artists, Tita Salina and Irwan Ahmed, as translators for them. And they were really speaking up. And it was really good because you know how it is in Zoom discussions. Sometimes you are participating as a visitor, but you never raise the hand. You're too shy to speak. And but we really try to include everybody. So not only the speakers giving their monologue and exchanging, but really inviting the audience from the first moment on. And that's when really something comes up, like a real conversation. And you hear people like a curator from Goa, she was coming up with her experiences and what she knows. And we had an Italian curator based in London. We had somebody from LA. And it was really like amazing how you can connect continents and the perspectives and the feelings and what people see around them in one Zoom discussion. So that was really nice. You see that here. So we have Pietro Consolandi top, then me in the middle, then Tita Salina and Irwan Ahmed from Jakarta. On the bottom left, it's Åsa Andersson from Kiruna. She was doing the acupuncture walk in Stockholm, which was amazing. We gathered several groups. We had 3 different weathers. The first day it was 15 or 16 degrees and sunny. The next day it was cloudy, and the day after it was like 5 degrees and snowing. So we had all the different climates. And she was doing a walk starting from Bonniers Kunsthal and walking around the what's it called again, on the other side of Bonniers Kungsholmen, and then walked back over the bridge. And she was showing us different spots where there is a lot of head energy happening, then spots where you can actually refill your batteries because they are like on a specific neuralgic point on the water. And that was really, it was so interesting because people from Stockholm, they understood that every place, even in an urban surrounding, has a very particular energy. And that you can, even in very busy spots in the city, Carolyn participated in that, you can really like refill your batteries. You can just stand there and feel the spot where you are standing and connect to your place, because that's what we forget usually in the city. We don't connect to the city. We are only rushing from one point to the other. So she created this consciousness again for our environment, the urban environment. Then in the middle, we have Fabio Cavallari, the other part of Barrena Bianca, and Carmichael from Hauswolf. He was actually part of the project as well. He was, you know, the Swedish musician and sound artist. And he was actually doing an interview with Åsa. I think I didn't put an image, but you can see the video on our website. He was interviewing Åsa, how she is connecting art with healing, because she is a healing artist, which is like a very new notion maybe in contemporary arts. And it was really incredible. She was speaking a lot about the Sami topic and how everything is interrelated. So that was interesting to listen to them. So you see that we always try in one project not only curate one specific thing, but really getting different disciplines and different fields of work on board on one project. That's the map of Barella Bianca for We Are Ocean Venice. Part of We Are Ocean Venice was also, obviously, in December last year, a Zoom discussion. But it was interesting as well because we had, of course, Barella Bianca. Then we had Fiona Middleton. She is a marine biologist from the UK, but she was last year together with Pietro Consolandi, Ocean Fellow at Ocean Space in Venice. And we had then on the left in the middle, we had Angela Pomaro. She is a scientist from CNR ISMAR, which is the Center for National Research in Italy. They are based, or her specific office is based in Venice. And then in the middle, we have Francesca Santoro. She is from UNESCO, and she is actually leading the ocean literacy program, or pushing it very much. And she is really one of those marine scientists who's really engaged with her work. She loves the ocean, she loves her work, and she's really spreading the word of ocean protection and ocean literacy worldwide. And it's really a pleasure to work with those two women like Angela Pomaro and Francesca Santoro, because you feel their love for what they are doing. Then we had one visitor from the audience. He is an artist, a Dutch artist based in Scotland. And on the bottom, there is a curator, an Italian curator who is based in London. So we had like this open discussion from the beginning. And that was hosted by Ocean Space through their Zoom account. Then I move over to Vancouver. We Are Ocean Vancouver, which was commissioned to us by the Vancouver Biennale. And everything, of course, was planned actually as a physical project, but then Corona happened and we had to transform everything. So that was part of, well, all of our work, obviously. Everybody of us, we had to adapt everything. But it was good to see the flexibility also of the partners. So we said, okay, what do we do? Do we cancel everything? And I said, that's really a pity because we can really make something strong. And we worked with Toitonat Sea Swiss and Olivier Salva as our commissioned artist. Toitonat Sea Swiss. She is a First Nation artist, an Indigenous artist with different backgrounds from Vancouver. And Olivier Salva is a French-speaking artist from Montreal, but also based in Vancouver. And they said, you know what, we will do something which we can adapt to the circumstances. And then they created an app. And this app consisted of several podcasts, and we had like more than 700 school children from whole Vancouver inscribed in the program. So this app was dedicated to them, and we will see a video later. I will just maybe go into those details first so that you understand what I'm going to show later on. So they created those 4 podcasts, and at the end, we had, so this is module 2, for example. For each podcast, we had like a specific intro. And then the kids were invited to contribute to each module of the app. Contribute their contributions. So send in their contributions, like images or stories or songs. And it ended in, where are we now? Okay, so this was just the intro, and it ended in a tour which the artists created for the Biennale and Walkernale, which is part of the Vancouver Biennale, where the citizens of Vancouver are invited to follow a specific routes with their bike or walking, and to the spots which were highlighted in the app, actually. So maybe we can show now the first video, which you have there.
Yes, so I think that then I could
That's the Berlin video, Lisa Have. So we jump a little bit back. I should have maybe shown the video just after my description about Berlin, but please bear with me. So we show that, but only the first 5 minutes maybe, or 10 minutes we will. So not so huge. So the 1 second. Okay, so yeah.
3 visas, right?
Yes, exactly.
Stop sharing numbers.
I stop sharing, yeah.
Okay. Let's see. 1 moment, I need to just fix one setting.
Yeah. So we are watching now an extract of Lisa Have's film, which she produced with the kids in Berlin.
Könnten wir ohne das Meer überleben?
Guten Tag, ich bin Tasnim und das ist Mia. Wir wollen heute über die Verschmutzung vom Ozean reden und wie viel Schmutz halt drin ist und warum so viel Plastik und Müll halt im Ozean ist. Ich mache das jetzt gerade eben auch. Aber was habe ich dir vorher gesagt? Ich kann nicht improvisieren. Okay, einfach nochmal. Okay, nochmal. Guten Tag, ich bin Tasnim und das ist Mia. Wir wollen heute über die Verschmutzung vom Ozean reden, warum so viel Plastik und Müll im Ozean ist und wir Menschen sind halt schuld und Mia kann uns halt Beispiele geben, wie wir das ändern können.
Schätzt einfach ein bisschen manchmal niedriger, so dass ihr ein bisschen geschockt seid.
Entweder viel höher oder viel niedriger. Ich sage aber mal 300, 500.000.
Alle bereit? Bereit. Dann bitte.
Wie viel Plastikmüll schätzt ihr es in den Meeren?
Ich würde sagen 50 Tonnen.
Der Ozean ist sauber.
Ich würde sagen 47 Millionen.
Alles ist perfekt.
Also ich glaube, es ist 600 Tonnen.
Ja, ich glaube schon ungefähr so
Der Klimawandel ist eine Lüge.
500 Tonnen.
Ich schätze
Alles
70
ist
Tonnen.
perfekt.
Also die richtige Antwort sind 150 bis 200 Millionen Tonnen, also eine ganz, ganz große Menge.
Warum ist uns das Plastikproblem in den Meeren so spät aufgefallen?
Und wie kommt eigentlich das ganze Plastik ins Meer? Warum hat es so lange gedauert, dass die Läden und Leute anfangen, Plastik zu sparen?
Werden die Menschen aussterben, wenn wir so weitermachen?
Warum sehen wir Menschen unser Leben wertvoller als das von Tieren?
Und was könnten wir tun, damit die Welt nicht weiter zerfällt? Was passiert mit den Fischen?
Also ich bin Tolgan, ich bin 15 Jahre alt und wir reden jetzt heute über das Ozeanprojekt. Das ist Mert, 16 Jahre alt und das ist Berdan, 16 Jahre alt. Und wir reden heute darüber, was die Politiker daran ändern können, dass der Ozean so krass verschmutzt ist. Ja.
Und was wir dabei ändern können, dass wir die Politiker dazu bringen, dass sie den Ozean besser beschützen können. Zum Beispiel vor Tauchern, also die dort Dreck machen, die dort die Meeresgesteine da rausholen, einfach den Meer nicht beschmutzen.
Der Mensch ist halt ein Gewöhnungstier. Und das ist schwer, sich einfach umzugewöhnen. Also von heute auf morgen auf einmal anstatt Plastik Glas oder irgendwie irgendwas Wiederverwertbares zu benutzen.
Und wegen uns sterben auch die Meeresgetiere im Meer. Zum Beispiel Fische, zum Beispiel wenn man McDonald's geht, dann da diese Getränkehalter, die man einfach im Meer wirft, können da sich Fische drin verhängen. Zum Beispiel in Drähten und so dies, das, und dann sterben die nach einer Zeit.
Ich glaube, wir machen alle jeden Tag irgendwas, was nicht gut für die Umwelt ist. Und meiner Meinung nach kann man auch nicht alles vermeiden. Und deswegen fühle ich mich einerseits schuldig, aber einerseits auch nicht, weil wenn man versucht, darauf zu achten, dass man wenigstens versucht.
Also ich denke, man muss eine Nachricht abgeben, alle Politiker zusammenstellen und eine Nachricht abgeben, dann sind doch alle Länder damit informiert, dass die Umwelt recht verschmutzt ist und dann man den Dreck von dem Meer alles wegräumen kann.
Warum wird viel mehr geredet als unternommen?
Warum ändert sich nichts?
Wie viel Plastikmüll frisst ein Pottwal?
3.000.000, 3.000 Tonnen, sage ich.
Sauber.
Ich sag auch so vielleicht so
Alles ist perfekt.
50.000 Tonnen oder so, keine Ahnung.
Ich würde sagen 5.000 Tonnen ungefähr.
Der Klimawandel ist eine Lüge.
4.700 Kilogramm oder so?
Alles ist perfekt.
Also im März 2013 gab es an der spanischen Küste einen Pottwal, der gestrandet ist. Und er hatte 17 Kilogramm Plastikfolie in seinem Magen und ist daran gestorben.
Der Klimawandel ist eine Lüge.
Wie würdest du reagieren, wenn man zu dir sagt, du bist
Alles ist perfekt.
total bequemlichkeitsverblödet?
Glauben Sie, wir kriegen wieder alles in den Griff?
Wann haben Sie die Situation mit der Umweltverschmutzung als kritisch angesehen?
Wie wäre es mit mehr Gesetzen zum Umweltschutz?
Warum wird viel mehr geredet als unternommen?
Warum ändert sich nicht? Glauben Sie, wir kriegen...
Ja, das war ein Extrakt. I'm so sorry. Now I'm switching languages. My brain is falling asleep already. So yeah, that was an extract. The film actually is 25 minutes long, but you saw the concept of it. And at the end, this is why I waited until the choral dance, because I find that really funny. The girls had the idea on their own. We want to do the choral dance. And I think Lisa, she did something amazing as well by merging it with images put into this blue screen. So that's one outcome, and we always try to show this film also on different conferences in different contexts to give an idea how this kind of collaboration can look like and what is the outcome actually, because we hear a lot about interdisciplinary projects, we hear a lot about educational workshops in schools, but what is behind that, and how do the kids reflect? Of course, those kids, they have like very dark thoughts about the ocean. Like sometimes I had the impression it was really going into depression. They were talking about the fact that the world was overpopulated and the only possibility was that we kill ourselves, like really very dark ideas. And we were so shocked, we didn't know where that was coming from. And when they relate or they associate with the ocean, they were thinking about the dark and something which is really like threatening us. So I was not aware of the fact that young people, specifically in a big city like Berlin, that they were having those dark ideas. So I think we have to deal with that as well, that the young people, they are very aware of what is happening outside, and somehow you have to, I don't know, to take them in your arms and to give them a little bit of support. So it's not only about giving them knowledge about what is happening, but also giving them psychological support. And I think this is something which external projects like ours, for example, can do as well, because you go to a school 3 or 4 times and it's a different challenge than teaching every day at a school. So that was one example, and maybe we can immediately show the next one, which is an extract from Mark Johnson's YouTube link, the Théâtre Corallien. So we will only show like 5 minutes. It's in French with English subtitles as well. I hope that this is working.
I'll just move to the moment where it should be.
Yeah. So they were, I can keep on talking until you found it. We did those, recordings with the kids, and he put together, he selected specific
Je suis un énorme requin bleu. J'habite dans l'eau avec mes amis les requins. On aime manger et avec nos ailerons, on se débarrasse des plastiques. Je suis un poisson clown et je mange des poissons. Je vis tout au fond de la mer. Je suis un crocodile requin. Je vis dans l'océan. Je mange des requins et des crocodiles. Je prends les déchets dans la bouche et je les mets dans un endroit pour pas qu'ils polluent la mer. Et je vis dans les profondeurs et je me fais souvent attaquer par le calamar vampire. Je suis un requin cochon. Je mange des requins de mer. Je prends les déchets et je les amène à la surface pour les mettre dans la poubelle, et je vis avec des requins bleus. Alors, c'est un espèce de char qui lance de la lave sur les déchets dans la mer, et quand elle est en lave, on met un petit produit qui l'a refait faire toute bleue, toute neuve. Et quand le chat il lance toute la lave, après les trucs verts que vous voyez, c'est les déchets. Et ça passe dans le tuyau. Et après, il y a un bateau, il pollue. Et après, tous les bateaux qui vont polluer, on les met dans la lave et on les met là. Quand il est un peu comme ça veut dire que la mer, elle va prendre 1 an à se renouveler, sauf si on met le petit produit, sauf qu'elle sera toujours foncée, elle ne pourra pas être bleue comme ça, alors que là, si on met un tout petit peu de déchets, elle deviendra toute bleue. Mais après, le déchet disparaîtra. Et en fait, après, on met les réserves de déchets, on va dans l'espace, on les met sur Mars. Oui, parce que sur Mars, tout brûle. C'est une planète brûlante. Donc après, ça les fait fondre. Et après, on recommence. Alors en fait, c'est un énorme char qui lance de la lave et quand il rejette ses déchets, il fait un énorme arc-en-ciel. Et ici, il y a beaucoup de choses qui sont dans les batteries et ça, c'est un peu la pollution des bateaux que je vais brûler.
Moi ici, là, je vois comme un gros bateau de plein de fumée. Et là, je vois de l'eau. Et là, je vois un peu comme une géante tornade qui engloutit tout.
Oui. On dirait du feu. Ah, ça, c'est un peu la lave, en fait.
Ah ouais, ça se voit. On dirait une vague de lave.
Alors, en fait, c'est pas une tornade, c'est un énorme arc-en-ciel tornade qui fait une tornade d'arc-en-ciel, mais elle peut rien aspirer.
Ah bah, c'est cool, du coup.
À part un scooter.
Ouais.
Mais c'est tout ce qu'elle peut aspirer. Et là, comme tu dis, c'est un bateau.
Et là, je vois, si je le mets à l'envers, là, je vois un peu le drapeau italien.
Ouais, mais si tu le mets à l'endroit, c'est un char qui lance de la... Ouais, et là, c'est un bateau qui a accidenté. On l'a brûlé, c'est normal qu'il soit accidenté. Alors, je brûle un bateau. Ah, c'est pas normal qu'il soit accidenté. Le char, on dirait un gâteau. C'est pas faux.
De quoi?
Un gâteau italien.
Ah ouais, c'est vrai.
Gâteau italien. Allez, on va le donner à l'Italie. Et peut-être que le gâteau, les villes d'Italie, c'est le gâteau que j'ai fait. Et ici, la lave, elle projette des couleurs qui vont faire la mer toute bleue.
Ah ouais.
Parce que quand elle sera toute pleine de lave, elle sera sec, ça sera pas beau, comme dans les volcans, quand on met de l'eau dessus, quand ils sont asséchés, c'est du charbon. Et alors là, on a mis des petits produits, ils sont pas toxiques, au contraire, ils nourrissent les poissons. Et là, avec la chaîne, on a mis les petits produits qui nourrissent les poissons.
Quelle chaîne?
Là, il y a une chaîne.
Et ça met l'eau toute bleue, c'est ça?
Ouais.
Et donc,
elle est vraiment sale par contre. Bah non, c'est normal. C'est la lave. Oui. C'est la lave et le produit, c'est un mélange. Donc après, elle sera toute neuve. Et là, le canon, en fait, s'il met trop de lave dessus, il brûle.
Ah ouais, ok. Ouais. Donc vaut mieux pas en mettre trop. Sinon, c'est la galère.
Ouais.
So, I think you can watch the entire film as well on our website. That was just an example how they just get lost in their stories. They did the drawings, they wrote a story or a poem, and then they have to present it to their school, how do you say that, companions and schoolmates. And they just get lost in their fantasy. And that's amazing as well, not only to speak about the knowledge they have learned, but really what they imagine. I mean, bringing all the garbage to Mars. This is like, because that's what they see in television. And but to stimulate this creativity is really important in those workshops. Also to contribute to strengthen their self-esteem, which is, I think we forget that all the time, but kids very often, they don't have the self-esteem they need. And in order to be creative and to take over responsibility in the future, but also to engage yourself with something, you need self-esteem. So maybe as the last film extract, we could show the We Are Ocean Vancouver extract. I think it's 5 minutes long as well. And it's one of the podcasts which the artists produced, which were dedicated or to the participating school students, where they, in 4 different modules, Seas always explained one specific topic regarding Vancouver and the interconnection between the land and the ocean, and how ancestral indigenous knowledge of the people living there for many, many generations, how this indigenous knowledge could actually contribute to the protection of the ocean and the coastlines. So we watched that, and then we will continue with the outlook of our program.
Well, hello everybody, it's me, Ollie, and I can't believe that this is already We Are Ocean Vancouver Module 4. So in the past modules, we've learned about ecosystems. We've learned about how ecosystems and the forests here in British Columbia are connected to the ocean. We also have learned about how human activity since colonization has impacted the lifestyle and the rights of our local Indigenous people and of the ocean health. For this episode, we are about to meet Seas at Maplewood Flats. This place is very special because it was once inhabited by local Indigenous people and by many local species. But this place has been very polluted because of colonization, and Seas is going to tell us what happened on this land.
Hafsquile eich chnoyap, toitstanat quien shaman, Seas quien sna. I'd like to welcome you to the saltwater inlet that is part of the Tsleil-Waututh and Squamish territories, and we are looking out in our background here at the saltwater inlet known as Burrard Inlet. And and it's a place that is predominantly occupied by the Tsleil-Waututh people, and they are the neighbors of my people, the Squamish. And so this spot that we're standing at is an incredible spot that is a mud flats where a lot of shellfish used to get embedded into the sand, and there probably still is a lot of shellfish here, but they're not edible anymore. So through industry intervening over the last 100 years, we have the Imperial Oil Company farther down at a town called Ioko, which is the Imperial Oil Company. They named a town after this oil company. And then as we come west along the inlet, we hit Kinder Morgan, which is now an entity belonging to Canada, a pipeline that belongs to Canada. And then further behind me is the Shell oil and gas station terminal. And so that terminal alone, the Shell station, has been leaking gas into this inlet for over 10 years. And despite all the work that scientists are doing here and anything that any professional pipe fitter is doing, they can't stop the leaking of the of the gas into the inlet. So I wanted to show a bit of this context and talk about, we're going to talk about decolonization today and what that means. And what we can see behind me is a very colonial perspective of an inlet that not that long ago was very rich and filled with shellfish that we could eat, and wild animals such as seals and otters, sea lions, and of course the fabulous killer whales that no longer come here to give birth to their babies. And for centuries that was their habitat, this beautiful, prestigious inlet that is quite a perfectly safe environment for the wild whales to come in and give birth and raise their babies.
So for the rest of the module, I'm going to spend time asking C some big questions that you may have at home or at school. The first part of my Q&A at CEAS will be about what is decolonization and what is an indigenous plant.
I think that's it, no? Yeah. So, that was part of this last module. So you see how that functioned. CEAS was explaining specific topics regarding British Columbia and Vancouver and answering to questions in order to explain in detail what is going on and how the Indigenous community looks at those topics. And if you look at all the modules, it's really interesting because this is a part of Vancouver, if you know Vancouver, but this is definitely a part which we don't know. We go to the city, we visit the city, and we maybe go to the Rocky Mountains or the people in the community and in the area or tourists. But what is actually happening there as the disaster is based on colonization, we never look at that. And it's really interesting also for the people living there. One part which we always try to do in all our projects is to connect specific parts of the projects to bigger conferences. Since we were with the first projects, we were officially already part of the UN Ocean Decade of the preparatory phase. Now we are waiting for the endorsement for the next projects. And we were invited for the official launch of the UN Ocean Decade, which was hosted by the German government online, to present a session regarding an inspiring ocean, the topic of an inspiring ocean as part of the UN Ocean Decade. And I invited CEAS to give a private lesson to me as the curator about ocean botany. So what does that mean when land and ocean come together? This was why I was asking the question before also. And she was teaching me specific things. For example, I didn't know what the riparian zone was. And I learned that it's the zone between the forest and the ocean, actually, where a lot is happening. And but I invite you to look at the website to find out about the details. So, and CEAS is actually called the plant diva. So she knows everything about plants, about ocean botany, about botany in general, about ancestral botany. And it's really interesting. I really learned a lot from CEAS during that project, but also from Olivier Salvas, from Oli Salva, because he's a very good educator, he's a very good teacher. And how he brings across knowledge to the kids is just amazing. So I would like, just quickly, before we can enter into a brief discussion at the end, I think everybody is tired by now, just to give a brief overview of what we have in the pipeline. I think I didn't name all the projects which we want to do. We are Ocean at COP26. We are going to have a program in Glasgow together with the Glasgow School of Arts, and we are doing something at the Goethe Institute as well, and maybe something inside the blue zone of the COP. Then we are Ocean Wadden-Sea. Wadden-Sea, you know, that's an area which is like actually a trilateral zone: Denmark, Germany, and the Netherlands. The Netherlands, the northern part of the North Sea, which is a very specific biodiversity zone. And we are going to work with 4 different artists in Denmark to a green fort, in Germany, Michel-Marie Letellier and Kinza Winkler, and in the Netherlands, Sofia Bulgakova. Then we have We Are Ocean Sapmi, which is a longer-term project. We are just starting right now to put together the concept, and it's going to link Sweden, Finland, Norway, and Russia. But in our group, we will speak about that later because I need your support in that. Then Pietro Consolandi was proposing that we should not only do We Are Ocean and then a city or a region or a country, but also choose a topic. And he proposed the topic of salt, because that is actually something which is a huge topic in Venice, obviously, the salt marshes. In Jakarta, it's a topic as well. They never mined salt, but now they started to mine or to produce salt there, which is very new, and it's affecting, of course, the local environment a lot. So we are going to link several different regions, maybe also our We Are Ocean Spain project. Then We Are Ocean Honduras, which is quite advanced already. We are going to work on the Caribbean coast, close to Puerto Cortes, with local communities there and the Rare Foundation. We Are Ocean Spain, we are supposedly going to do something close to the city Cartagena. Then We Are Ocean Maremma, which is in the Tuscany. We Are Ocean Oceania, specifically with with an artist and educator based in Fiji, but we want to link several islands there. We Are Ocean Toronto in collaboration with Planet in Focus, which is an environmental film festival happening in the month of October. Rio de Janeiro with local communities and grassroots movements and foundations. We Are Ocean Cameroon. We are in touch with Barthélemy Togo, with whom we worked already, even though Banjul Station, his program and his foundation is inside of Cameroon and not on the coast. For us, it's important as well to speak about and speak with people who are not directly linked with the sea or the ocean, but who, like in Berlin, the kids understood that what they are doing and what is happening in the big city is also affecting the coastlines and the ocean. We Are Ocean Mexico, We Are Ocean Galapagos. I'm sure that I forgot something, but you see there are so many things we can work on and bring together local stakeholders. It's not only ARTPORT. We come, we propose a concept, and then we put together all the details together with the collaborating partners. And that's really the interesting thing. You get scientific groups like research institutes on board, you get schools and universities on board, obviously the artists in the first place, and then you discuss what can you do, local curators as well, and people, well, different stakeholders from different groups. And then you cook a soup, and this is so amazing, and then you work with the local communities and the local society, the citizens, and there you can really create a very strong outcome, which is for us important is the long-term view as well, that we work with the partners on a long-term basis and that we can really create change. Because if we only do one specific punctual project, which you implement for a month or 2 or maybe 3, and then you're gone and you cannot even follow up, you don't know if something is really happening or not. Then, yeah, my ridiculous list of partners for this project already, but it's amazing how they all came on board and they were all excited and they contributed a lot in the different countries, and it's not stopping. These are the last ones which came on board. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. And now I would like to open, of course, for discussion.
Right, so right, so I hope that the Zoom audience can hear me, and I will be kind of looking at that screen or that screen. Yes, I think that we could perhaps try to see what's here. Yes, so our dear audience, I mean, are there any questions in the Zoom room? Or are there, I'm sorry, I'm kind of blinded a little bit. Or are there any questions here in the room? It's not that we have actually, like tons of time, but I think that, we definitely, I mean, there's been so much food for thought and, exciting stuff. So I was wondering if anyone would like to jump in and use the opportunity. Carolyn, please. Yes, please. I mean, I think that would be really nice.
Hello, thank you, Mari. My question is, there's so much work here. I was just wondering how you organize your work behind the scenes, sort of saying, and how you reach out to various partners, and you work so much around the globe, and kind of how do you structure your work? Which countries, cities, organizations do you reach out to, and like what affects where you kind of end up and start an actual project?
Yeah,
that was my question.
Yeah, that's a good question, actually, because that's actually a very organic procedure. I come up with the idea, I create a concept, I invite the artists, I speak, with colleagues. Whom shall we invite? Who could be interested in that? Who is working on that? And then I create a strategy. Who would be a good partner? Who would be a good funder? Of course, because we need money as well to do that. And I talk maybe to the governments or to the city governments or to foundations. And then I see if something comes together. If I see that it's like everything is blocked, that something is really not working in a fluid way, then I drop it or I park it for now, because I see, okay, nothing is happening there. In other cases, it's really, there is like a stream of development, and you see, oh wow, so many different people are coming together, people are interested, so it's worthwhile. And then I start, project description, of course, and agreements with the artist. That's important. That's the first thing I have to do, to sign an agreement with the artist so that I'm sure that they are on board and they are sure that we mean it seriously and that we all know our duties and our rights. We come to an agreement regarding the artist fee. And then I put together a budget, and then I start the fundraising. And there you have to be very creative, obviously. So as you saw with our list of partners, we have a diversity of funders coming on board. And then we look for the venues. Where can we, we go to the schools. We ask the schools. That sometimes is very challenging to find the right schools who want to be part of that. And then trying to find partners who would like to show the outcomes. So everything works out usually in a very organic way. But of course, you have to be very disciplined. You have to be very structured. And but during those, I'm in the art world since more than 20 years. So of course, I gathered a network, and I always have my Excel list, Who are the partners? Who are the potential funders? Who are the potential artists, the scientists, the educators, etc. So my Excel lists are always exploding, more or less. But you always have to keep it up to date. And then, of course, you implement the project. Then you have to do the accounting. Very important. I have a tax advisor who is always saying, "This is not possible. This is possible." So it's not only curating.
Right, thank you so much. I mean, just so you know, question to the audience in the Zoom room. I mean, if anyone...
We have Susanne M. Winterling, actually.
I know that. I know. I'm not sure if Susanne would like to jump in, but there is space, and I think that you could use that space. Susanne, interpolating.
Susanne, if you want to say something maybe about your film and... something, thanks. Okay, it's not no thanks, it's thanks. So I assume it's an affirmation. So maybe you want to speak quickly about your film and your idea behind it. You have to unmute.
Yes.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm a little bit surprised and not prepared, but I've been listening. Sorry, it's been a very busy day and I couldn't follow everything. But I'm very happy to see the presentation and things coming together. was maybe shown, or as many of the participants, I'm happy about the context, and I'm happy that I could contribute. I actually contributed with a part of CGI work that deals with, as part of a longer research project that also works around feminist and decolonizing issues, and very much native and indigenous knowledge. So I'm very happy about the context. I don't know what else to say apart from it's good to be a part of a bigger traveling thing, and it's good to get messages out.
Yeah, I think what is important as well for all of us, and I think you work this way as well, Susanne, it's like this collaborative part that we really have to join forces and that we have to support each other, and that it's important to respect and to, for example, for ARTPORT, this is something we have to talk about as well. For ARTPORT, it's important to be able to pay the artists. We never invite artists and say, can you contribute something for free? No, it's for us, it's really an ethical necessity to be able to pay. So the fundraising part is important, but then also, even if it is only a small amount, which we can pay for the screening of work. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe, I mean, I can, is there a question? Oh, yes, sorry. Go.
Just, what are you selling to the funders? Like, how do you, what are they getting out of it? Like, what's the benefit?
Well,
maybe you should rephrase it because no one heard
no, it's most of our partners and funders and sponsors, they understood that this kind of social cultural projects are important to bring a message to society, to speak about the funders in a way that we can show to society how much engaged they are. The ones who are giving us money, they are already engaged in this field of linking art and science, or the ones who want to promote education, informal education for young people. We have banks and Sparkassen in Germany. We even have a lottery. We have scientific research institutes. Of course, there is also the topic of public relation for the specific companies or institutions is also very important, obviously. But when you see the concept or the project description of each project, you see that there is already a quality behind. We have good artists, we have good scientists, I mean, excellent artists, excellent scientists, excellent educators, already the first excellent partners on board. We can promote a project internationally, so it's not only focused onto one city or one region, but we all also travel the project, and this is usually quite interesting and sexy for our partners.
Thank you so much. And I would like to invite you all to just, big applause for Anne-Marie. That's why I'm kind of, brutally closing. But I think that we could follow up that discussion really also in the in a kind of more laid back atmosphere. So I would like to thank you so much for sharing the project and for just giving us an opportunity to learn so much. So, and also to have some inspiration for hopefully brewing something together. Because I also had some questions, but I was kind of just checking with my co-pilots that actually, we are probably holding people beyond the time, so we have to have a little break for the next meeting. So I'd like to thank the audience in the Zoom room. In a way, this is actually the closing part of the, the kind of open public chunk of this symposium. So big thanks to you, Anne-Marie, big thanks to everyone here in the room, big thanks to our other keynote speakers, based in Live, and to everyone in the Zoom room, and to be continued. Thank you so much.